Here's one from Cybertech Lighting. We are going to be installing a battery backup that we sell and into our strip light. And also I'm just going to point out how and where the motion sensor goes. Well, our motion sensor has a little knockout here, and that's where that goes, and we'll talk about that later. But the battery backup consists of two things. One is the emergency driver and one is the battery. We have two different versions of batteries. On the 40 watt and below, we use the 8 watt, which is 800 lumens, and on the larger units like the high bays, we use a 16 watt, which is 1600 lumens. Now, it's not really 16 and 8. Usually these fixtures are over 110 lumens or 100 plus lumens per watt. So that's how we calculate it. If it's 100, then we call it 100 800 lumens. But if it's 110, then we've got 880 lumens. So it all depends on the lumen output of your fixture. Here's where the battery backup goes. There's actually some holes in the space for them. The holes are already there. You want to put the battery facing where you've got your wires going back towards the emergency driver, and there's holes there and there that are there, and you're going to install that by putting 2 screws. This unit, you want to turn it where you've got the plug for the battery that connects to the battery next to the battery, and then the 4 wires that are the output wires facing the existing driver. These are the power wires which face the other way. I'm going to put that here, and then you're going to screw these 2 into this base. Now that we've already screwed in our power system, the battery and the emergency driver, we're going to cut this. We're going to leave a little bit of space because we're going to use that onto that into the input. So we're going to do the input first. So we're going to cut this off. We've got the extra what's the names. We're going to strip these so we can wire nut them to the existing black and white. So if we go to the back side over here, if you look at this this drawing that talks to the schematic, it says neutral, white, black line. So neutral and white, we're going to put this connector here. So we're going to take this and we're going to wire nut this to to the black and the white of the emergency driver. Wire nut that. That's going to be the input of the line when they put it in. Now there's going to be 2 inputs. In fact, the input is going to be through this, and also it's going to have a direct input on the line, the black wire, from on this original driver. And the reason for that is that you can put a switch on that and you can power through that. So the unit operates on this, and when the switch is off, through this side it recognizes the power is still going, and it doesn't use the battery to light. So you've got 2 input wires once you've got everything installed. Once I've cut this, I'm going to pull these wires through. They're tied here. I'm going to untie them, and then I'm going to pull them through because I need to connect it to the emergency driver. I'm going to pull them all the way through. There should be enough slack there to be able to pull them through. The gray and the white of this thing, gray and the purple, is actually for the dimmer. You can put the dimmer in later if you have a dimmer to put in the ceiling. If not, then you don't. You're going to strip these wires. We're going to pull them as far as we can. We're going to strip them out. Because we're going to be connecting this to that. Now, this black wire is the one that needs the direct line. What we do is we put a connector on there. This has a quick connect on it. So the gray and white will go to this. And once we've unplugged this, the black and red will go to this. Now I'm going to need extra wire, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how much wire we've got, and I'm going to cut this close to the end of the driver because I'm going to use extension wires for this. So I'm going to cut this here. Okay, we're going to strip these. We're going to strip this one. Strip this one. We're going to add a red wire to this. Okay, we're going to add the black wire to this. Here's the black wire. I'm going to put the black wire in. Okay. Okay, and then that I connect the red and the black of this, which says on the schematic that goes to the driver. So this emergency driver, black and red, goes to this emergency's output, black and red. Black is usually negative and red is positive in this case. You can look at the schematic, you can look at the drawing, and it'll tell you which one is which. And you just have to make sure that if the red says positive here and the red says positive there, you put those two together. And if black says negative, you put the black together. We're going to wire nut that, and that will finish up two of our wires for the output side of the emergency driver. Make sure that it covers the wires completely. We're going to wire nut this one in. Once I've wire nutted this, now our output from this emergency driver is done. We had already done the input, now the output is done, and that actually just gets plugged right into the plug. We just want to make sure it's long enough, which it is just coming out right. It'll be nice and snug, but it's just right. You put them. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle some and move some of these wires over, so nice and clean, and then we're gonna put it in the test switch. Taking these wire ties that were included with the emergency driver, I've tied down a lot of the wiring so that it's out of the way and it's not bothering each other. It won't get pulled. Now we're going to put in this test switch, and so the test switch goes in this knockout. We're going to take this knockout that's over here next to this plug. This is where the test switch plugs into, and we're going to knock out this knockout, and it will pop out. Now you're going to take the test switch nut off, pull it through. You're going to slide the plug in from the outside in. Then you're going to put this nut back into this, slide it through, and tighten the test switch onto the unit. Now the test switch is on. We're going to plug this test switch in, and so the test switch is now there. I've got this wire tie. I'm going to tie this test switch here, maybe to some of these other wires so they don't move, and that way the test switch is stable and it's set. Tie that up, put that all the wire harness and so forth down. Everything is fine.